Buddy.
So this is a bit of an exaggerated example of our wood filling process, but this was printed on our massive printer, and it's got such thick layer lines. Show the camera there. Show the camera here. That it is a perfect example to show on camera the process of going in and filling tiny gaps with wood filler. So this is plastic wood, so it bonds really well with plastic, which is what we use here with 3D printing. But it's a pretty simple process. Basically, you're just going and rubbing it into the cracks and whatnot, and it takes a little bit to dry. Now something like this, where the layer lines are much bigger and you're wanting to get it much more smooth, you're going to need a lot more wood filler. But what's going to end up happening is once this dries, you can go back later and sand it. And when you go to sand it down, you're going to stop at the plastic layers, but the wood filler is still going to be filled in on all the other little cracks, as you can kind of see.
So as you sand down and start seeing the aqua color in alternating areas, that's when you would stop, knowing that you've reached the top highest level.
Yes, so exactly. So when you go to sand it down, the idea is that once you have reached the actual plastic itself, all of the valleys are filled. So then when you go to do paint or primer, it is a nice smooth finish on top. And something like Squirtle here would require a lot more wood filler. Depending on how thick your layer lines are, it can also determine like the quality of your print, things like that, how much you do need to use. Something like Mjolnir here, I don't think I even had to use wood filler. I did a bit more work on the printer side of things instead of the post-processing side, making sure that the model itself wasn't going to have any gaps. The layer lines were nice and thin, so there wasn't much to fill. It can also fix imperfections. So this is my Red Hood helmet that I just finished yesterday. And as it was printing this, the jaw piece on this right-hand side actually came loose from the bed. So as it was printing, the jaw piece was on the right-hand side was vibrating back and forth. So even it wasn't sturdy, so you had a lot of very exaggerated valleys and hills. I did a pretty good job of covering up how bad it actually was. You can kind of see in the right angle a little bit of it.
Only because of the shine.
Only because of the shine.
Yeah, but
There-
now it just looks like you took a blow to the mask and kind of makes it look like it's fighting.
Authentic. It's authentic now. Yeah.
So, but it was at one point a lot worse than what it appears to be on camera. And wood filler is actually like, this is one of the only spots on the entire helmet that I did go fall back to with wood filler. Everything else was primer and paint. So it can either save a print or it can be intended to use like afterwards to help smooth over a print.
Now on the mask, just around the eyes inside, is that a latex line with a film? What are you using to finish off the eyepiece?
So can you get that red tint right there? I'll show them. So the actual eyepieces themselves, you can see they're red. Normally Red Hood would have white eyes. I wanted it to be red. I just cut one of these. They're super ridiculously cheap.
So that's just a leftover fruit cake cover type.
Yeah, I would say I've never actually this was bought solely for the purpose of being cut up. But I just cut 2 little tiny slits. You can see the inside there, I believe, on that camera.
You sure can.
I cut 2 little eye-shaped pieces, and I just hot glued them in. That's all I had to do. There you go. Yeah. So I had 2. I wasn't sure how many, in case I goofed up. Thankfully, I didn't. But I mean, these are dirt cheap.
Or hopefully after this video goes, there'll be a need to make another one for someone.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not only using 3D printed stuff, but also thinking creatively on how to get your props to look the way that you want them to.
Let me interject on that last note right there, which is to say, if you guys have any question, you're watching the film right now, You want to know how this was done. You want to know if these guys can do it for you. You want to know anything about the 3D modeling or finishing out the prop. You should probably give them a shout at the 3D shop uptown. There it is.
Or c3dp.me is our website.
There you go.
Yeah.
c3dp.me. It's also
So
C3.
It's also right over
Me.
there. You go. You got a free promo right there. That was pretty good.
we can absolutely do some props for you one-off, but if you're wanting to get into the hobby yourself, you're wanting to get hands-on. We do also teach classes, not just about the 3D printing aspect of it, but teach classes about this, or the painting, or the sanding, or sourcing other parts, getting creative. We teach classes on all aspects of 3D printing, whether you're wanting to learn how to print better or print for specific purposes. We teach modeling classes, whether it be classes in Blender, Fusion 360, we can walk you through those. So we do all
They have experts.
Yep, so each of us specializes in something here. So we can do we can pretty much do it all. I have taught a few classes on the cosplay side of things, because even though, yes, I make money by, making a prop for someone, I get more enjoyment from seeing other people go out and make something themselves, share it with me.
He's gonna do some quick polishing, finishing, something. I don't know. Tell me what you're doing through the mask, there, buddy.
I was gonna say, I'm about to do some priming and painting, mainly just priming for this. I'm preparing right now, but here in a second after the cut, when we're outside on the sidewalk,
Okay.
on our paint table, you'll see me actually priming this, getting it ready for paint.
All right, cool. What it takes to be great, people. What it takes to be great.
And then,
That's all right. And I am outside of the 3D shop uptown. That place right there. They're about to finish out one of their 3D swords, which I cannot wait for them to finish out. So if you want to see how it's done, stick around because we're going to show you.
alright, I think that this is nice and mixed up. You want to make sure that it's, ready for painting. I use a tent sometimes, depending on how windy it is. The sword itself here is a little bit long, but I think I was able to fit it in corner to corner. I have a couple different painting things to help me out, whether it be a Lazy Susan, if it's an object I can fit on it and spin around. I paint my helmets on this, so this is just a makeshift helmet stand that I can, put on the Lazy Susan, get all directions. A lot of times I will put holes through things for wooden or metal rods, and I have designed and printed this, and it just allows different props to actually sit on it, so that way I can get them from all angles and they can stand straight up, and I can get the entire thing done in one time. Something like this I'll have to do 2 different times. I'll have to do one side, wait for it to dry, flip it, and then do the other side.
Yeah. And you just put it on those Lazy Susan to flip it and let it dry?
Yeah, normally.
You're not worried about it touching the surfaces there or anything?
No, it should be fine.
Okay.
So once this is dried, I'll actually sand it a little bit to make it nice and smooth. Perfect. I was gonna say, I normally use this little attachment right here that I got from a local hardware store. It just makes the painting a little bit easier.
Okay.
Do a little test there. It's coming out fine. And then now what I'm gonna do is just go back and forth. It's very much like spray painting, but it's not actually paint. This is a base coat of primer. And I'm wearing a mask because I'm sure Tony has seen. It smells a little bit.
It smells a little bit.
Yeah, it smells a little more than just a little bit.
We're back here non-breathing, folks. It's okay. It's fine. It's all for the sake of entertainment.
I was gonna say, short bursts, you're not really gonna have much of an issue with this type of thing.
Okay.
But where I do prop after prop after prop,
Yeah.
I want to make sure that long-term exposure for myself is minimal as possible.
So you're advising that any and everybody, if they can, to do this in an outside.
Well ventilated.
Okay.
If you a big open space, I wouldn't paint in like our personal shop, but if you have a nice garage that you don't mind a little bit of overspray getting on like the floor or whatnot,
Yeah.
You can definitely do this in a garage. You won't have to worry about its draft as much, so you won't have to like get this little paint tent that I have. but definitely make sure it's ventilated.
Okay.
You want to make sure that the fumes are not fumigating in an enclosed small space type thing. So I'm gonna wait a couple minutes, about 1 or 2, and then I'm gonna do another coat on it, and I'll just let it dry.
Cool.
C3DP.me